All right, I'm gonna make a quick video on how to install, or at least me installing, a set of cheap aftermarket fender flares on a 2000 Honda CRV. This will be the same process for 97 to 01 CRVs. And I've got everything right here from the $28 fender flares I got on eBay, about a $16 RivNut kit, M6 metric rivet nuts, and I've got a set of dress up bolts that we're going to put in. So basically all you're going to need for this is a drill, the RivNut kit, the right size riv nuts, some dress up bolts, a couple different size drills, some masking tape or some double-sided sticky tape, and that's pretty much it. So on eBay I bought the fender flares. They have a smaller one and a bigger one. All right, so after repositioning these for about 30 minutes, trying to figure out if I wanted the large ones on the front or the rear, I finally came up with I do want the small ones in the rear and the large ones up front. So it took me a while to figure out where I wanted this, but I got it where it starts right after the mud flap, and it comes up and around, and it just barely clears the door, because on these you're going to have to open the door, or else you're going to have to rivet these or cut this thing and make it where it fits onto the door. And I did not want to do that, just in case I don't like it and I want to take them back off. All I'd have to do is replace these plastic fender flares that come on the car originally, and it won't be that big of a deal. So basically I got this thing mocked up where I want it. It comes down and I got it where it stops right here on the fender line. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of overhang. It's not a perfect fit, but I like how this one fits. And on the front, I've got this where the front, it lines up with the body line. So I'm gonna peel that tape back so you can see how this thing's got that body line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape that down and get that where it comes up, and it stops right here where the fender, where that top of that fender roll is. I got that where that is, and comes on down, and it ends right here at the side skirt. So if I back up, you can look at it, and it's got some poke, but we're about to be putting some 1-inch spacers on here with some Jeep wheels that are 7.5 inches wide and some 235/50/17 tires on here. So that's going to look pretty sweet. So I'm totally digging how this is looking. Not bad for some $30 fender flares, and another $20 for the tool to install it, and about another $10 or $15 worth of dress up bolts. So now that we got this thing taped up, let's go ahead and drill it. So what you want to do is get you a small drill. I'm using a 5/32 drill to start out with. Then we're going to bump it up to a 234 drill, or you can do a 1/4 inch. And then the final drill that I'm going to be using is a 23/64 drill, because that's going to be just big enough for these riv nuts to fit into the hole. And then we use this and it'll crimp it into place, and then we'll install those. All right, so now I've got my holes pre-drilled. This one, the drill broke, so be careful because this one's skinned up my paint. And then you want to bump up to a little bit larger drill. All right, so on the front one right here, on the rear one, on the driver's side right here, I actually just put a riv nut into this piece right here on the fender flare itself, because it didn't actually line up with this. So that's at least so it has a dress up bolt. And I messed up my very first one that I did. I accidentally put the riv nut on here as well, and it was supposed to go in the actual fender itself for the fender flare. All right, so my camera got a little bit too hot to be able to finish videotaping whenever I was doing the RivNut install, so I'm going to show it on this side. So I've already drilled out all of my holes, And I actually drilled out all of the holes while this was still taped up here, because you want this hole to be big enough for your bolt to go through. Now don't do like I did and install the RivNut on here. The RivNut needs to be installed on here. So to use this tool, open it up, and then you see how this thing's got the flat edge? Screw that on that direction until it bottoms out. When that bottoms out, all you have to do is just stick it in the hole. Stick it all the way in the hole and push. Now, when I open this back up, you'll see it's got a little bit of a gap. Now, if you wanted to, you can screw this in just a little bit and then pull again to make it a little bit tighter if that's loose. If it's not loose, leave it alone, because if you go and screw it all the way in and do it again, you'll pull the threads out of it like I did on the other side. So don't do that. So now, once that's done, take this knob and just back it out, and that's gonna leave the RivNut in place, just like so. So now you have a spot to put your bolt in. So now I'm just going to do the same all the way around on the front. I've already drilled out those holes, and so I'm just going to go ahead and install the RivNuts, and then we'll install the hardware. Okay, now with all the RivNuts installed, now we can install our hardware. So you need the M6 by 1 metric screws. You can just use a regular bolt if you want to, but these are obviously dress-up style, but you're going to need a 4mm Allen head to screw these in. So I'm going to start these. So this one right here actually is not screwed in to the fender, so I'm actually going to mount a RivNut onto the fender flare itself, to that. Go around and tighten these up. They don't have to be super tight because they're just holding on for looks. Boom. All right, so quick walk around of how these look. So you can actually see that the fitment overall was pretty well. Very minimal gap against the car. What I'm going to do is right here where it's poking out just a little bit, we're probably just going to use some double-sided tape to hold this into place. But overall, I'm very satisfied of how it looks, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when I put the max heating rod coilovers on. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going to have a link directly above us on the description. Also, I'll put a link in the description for all the tools that I used, and the fender flare kit and the dress-up bolt kit if you're interested. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment, please subscribe, and stay tuned for more projects.